we got a heavyweight fight on Sunday night, and you got a big week with Tennessee.
Oh, man, what a weekend this is for me, baby. Cowboys and Eagles on Sunday, and then my Volunteers are the biggest game they've had in 25 years.
Let's bring in the head coach of America's team, Mike McCarthy, every Friday on the Diamond Factory Hotline. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Shan RJ. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Coach, you a diehard college guy? I know your prep time kind of limits you, but who was your college football team growing up, or is there anyone you still kind of follow?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up in Pittsburgh, you were either a Pitt or Penn State, fan, and I was always a Pitt fan because actually just living right next door to them. So Tony Dorsett and the Pitt Panthers is my team.
Our listeners want us to ask if you know that you guys are, again, the underdog this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, wow. Wonder why the media hasn't brought that up. That's why I had to get on here with the real pros.
That's right, man.
Get the real stuff there.
They haven't brought that up this week?
No, this is the first I heard of it. What's the line?
6.5.
6.5?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Now,
they're expecting you to go for 2. That's what they're doing.
Oh God. Well, it sounds like you are getting your bets lined up.
No, yeah, we are getting the bets on it. But we could tell off your tone. I'm not going to ask you about this week before the game is played, but we could tell by your tone last week in that presser that you were confident about the matchup and the way you guys were going into L.A. And it seemed like your team fed off that a little bit with DeMarcus Lawrence and everyone else loving the confidence that you instilled. So that was just an observation, not asking you about picking this week, but hopefully the same type of confidence, which we're sure that you have. Coach,
oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Coach, have you ever grown to hate another team in a rivalry? That's how we are as media members, as fans. I know you're looking at every week kind of the same, but did you ever just have another team get under your skin back in your Packer days or early Cowboy days?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Green Bay is very similar to Dallas in the fact that, you're in a division where the other 3 teams all look at you as their rivalry. So, it's, I have an opportunity, particularly before the first division game of Washington, New York, and now Philadelphia, just to make sure that the rookie and the first year players into our program are fully aware of the type of game they're going into. So, and it just when you go through those historical highlight tapes, it's very, very clear how the other team feels about Dallas Cowboys. And that's part of our responsibility. It's part of the joy of these division games, and I love being in that spot.
Did you have as an offensive guy, did you have a defensive coach that you would go up against? You're like, ooh, man, I'm on my extra P's and Q's this week, or that was kind of a challenge that you just kind of really relished in?
Well, God, I mean, obviously so many great defensive coordinators in the league, but, I've always just respected, consistency and how defenses play. I mean, because, every week you have more of a scheme challenge or more of a matchup challenge, or just really the play style and how consistent the defense plays. And I always thought Lovie Smith up there in Chicago was always someone I enjoyed going against because all his defenses played the same way with the energy. And now schematically it wasn't a huge challenge, but just the way those guys played and the way they understood the scheme and the way those defenses really attack, your tendencies and your scheme. So I always enjoyed that challenge.
Mike McCarthy here on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan. A lot of people are pointing towards the physicality of this matchup with your defense, the O-lines, the D-lines going up against each other. And I thought, Coach, in that Rams game, there was a 5-minute drive where you guys were running the ball. I think the first 6 plays were runs, and I was like, man, this is like old school physical NFC East football, and then you closed it out defensively by just beating up Stafford. Do you think this team is a little bit more physical than maybe some of the ones you've had in the past?
Oh, definitely. No, this football team is and the best part about it, answer your question, yes, but I think clearly our best football is in front of us. We have not played a complete game, and we understand that, but the one component, with the most important component of all 5 of our games, is they have been physical type football games, and that really fits our style of play. Our play style is at a good level right now. We want to continue to build off of that, and you need that in these division games, and you definitely need it against Philadelphia.
When you first got hired, I think everyone was anticipating, oh, this is an air attack guy. Let's throw it around. Favre, Rodgers, Montana, the quarterback schools. But the more we hear you talk, especially this year, it seems like you got some old school run game love in you.
Well, the foundation of really everything that I believe in and really do, as far as how you schedule, how your program, the program characteristics, really starts with Marty Schottenheimer. So, that's a foundation that I hold close and dear to my heart, because I know it's a big part of how you win. But trust me, I love to air it out. It's a lot more fun throwing the ball than it is running the ball. But it's as a play caller. But no, it's and Kellen obviously definitely has that ability to be an aggressive play caller. But this is how you win. This is how you win consistently, and it's a formula that works over the long haul. So we just got to get better at it.
Their strengths, or one of their strengths, is on the offensive and defensive lines, really. Is this the best O-line that you've seen on tape so far this year?
Oh, I agree with that. I think this is an outstanding offensive line. They're very well coached, and they've been playing together too. And I think that's really gets lost in the conversation, because offensive line experience and continuity, to me, is number one goal that I'm looking for. When I look at all the different units, positions on our football team, because history will tell you consecutive starts by 5 linemen equates to winning, and they definitely have that going right now.
Coach, can you speak to the job that Joe Philbin has done this year? One of the biggest questions that we all had in the offseason was about y'all's offensive line, and I think it's just been one of the most pleasant surprises, at least to us, probably not to you. Can you speak to the job that Coach has done up front?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe and Jeff have done an outstanding job. I think when you look at the position coach, his resume, Joe's teaching ability is at the forefront. He's an excellent teacher. The details, the fundamentals, the techniques, and you have to have that when you're developing a young football team. And so you've seen the growth of our young players, on a steady climb, and it'll continue to do so. And that's just a big part of where we are, particularly in the offensive line group.
Where's Hurts improved the most from what you've seen?
I just think he's playing faster. I think in the system now with 3 years, and it's a system built around him, which I believe that's the way you build offensive systems around your quarterback. So I think it's a great fit for how they want to play. So you can see the continuity that he's building, the connection he's building with the perimeter players. But just like any quarterback, you got to have a fundamental run game to be your start point, and Philadelphia has established that so far.
Coach, some people are talking about, with Hurts, Sirianni has kind of simplified it, kind of like a college offense. I covered Navy and people. Shut up, Chuck.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to make
love the military. I'm just. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, y'all want to laugh? Finish off your joke.
I'm just trying to follow along here, be a good listener, and how this applies to the game.
The point was, my professional radio point that you probably didn't get for the rest of those schmucks out there in the media is, they ran a different offense. Lamar, the Ravens, people say it's kind of tough to prepare. Is it tougher to prepare against this Eagles offense with the way Hurts does run it?
Definitely. I think like anything in this league, it's all about trends, and there's so much copycat that goes on, and in the trends of the league, they tilt and and they evolve each year. But there's concepts that we would categorize as traditional concepts, and being in the realm of staying in certain personnel groups, and this offense is definitely different. So with that, in a 7-day week of preparation, it's a bigger challenge in the classroom, the walkthroughs, and really making sure your look teams give our defense the looks that we're anticipating to see Sunday night.
Coach, you had mentioned this week a couple times, I guess, that defense first, right? Defense first team. with, when healthy, with a $40 million quarterback, in today's NFL, that seems like it's like, I don't know, counter. That doesn't usually happen like that. Is that just a, philosophical shift and trend, or is that, hey, let's have the best of both worlds?
Well, it's a foundation, thought process, but I think it's like anything, every team you coach is different. And that's one thing you definitely realize early in your head coaching career. So, I've never been one, especially when you're connected to a personnel department, saying I need exactly this guy or I can't have that guy, because in my experience in the past, when you do that, I feel like you really limit. You're putting some unnecessary limits on your draft board, because at the end of the day, when you're down there picking in the 20s every single year, and hopefully in the 30s, you got to take the best player on that board, because at the end of the day, personnel acquisition is about increasing the talent level to your football team. And if your offensive system or your defensive system doesn't have a place for an excellent football team, you have to take a hard look at your system. So that's just really a philosophy that I've always adhered to, as far as matching, how you're going to play year to year, and matching it with your personnel department. We have player profiles of the body types and types of players we want. But at the end of the day, we don't ever want to pass up a good football player, and that puts us in a position where we're clearly coming out of last year, and into the spring we knew the defense was ahead of the offense, so you played to that. But the goal is, to get to a complete football team where we're getting it done at a high level in all three phases, and I feel like that's in front of us.
Why did you feel the defense was ahead of the offense when you guys led the league in points last year?
Well, I'm talking about once we got into the off season, and you go through training camp, and the identity of what your 90-man roster is, and you build to that. So it's not that we don't want to go back to being, number one in the league in offense. And frankly, I think I'd rather be in the top 10 in offense and top 10 in defense, because that balance of a football team, that's the complement that you're looking for. When you're the number one offense, and I've been there before, when you're the number one offense, there's some unnecessary stress sometimes on your football team, particularly the defense and special teams. So, and I'll make sure I'm saying this the right way. You always want to be the most productive as you can, but this league is a lot of opinions are driven off stats, and I used to make the statement stats are for losers, but that wasn't very popular, so I changed it to statistics are important, but they're not the bottom line. So
how'd that taste, Choppy? How'd that taste in your coffee, Choppy?
Man,
Mr. Stat Boy.
I am a stat guy.
How'd you like that?
Oh man, Mike, you already left.
No, but they're important. I mean, I'm a big stat guy myself, but I don't stop there. I think stats to me is where you shine the light to make sure you're on top of both on the good side and the not so good side.
Oh, nice recovery right there.
Yes.
Did Dak's practice yesterday qualify as a rehab practice or a regular practice?
His practice evolved to a limited practice. Within the protocols and the specifics of this great league and the mechanics that we have to communicate of how our players practice every day. He bounced out of the rehab and actually, frankly, just took a couple reps in the individual drill, so which put him into a limited category. But he's doing well. The last 2 days he hit the target as far as with the rehab and the throwing, and we were just trying to give him some full speed work with the perimeter guys. So we did that after practice and did some things in the quarterback school. So today will be a recovery day for him because I know he probably did a little more than we anticipated yesterday. So we're on schedule. He's getting better.
All right,
can he spin the ball? Can he spin the ball? That's what Jerry was talking about Tuesday with us.
Yeah, the ball spins when he throws it. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Okay.
Last thing, Coach. One of the big league issues is these flags with the QB hits. You're a QB guy. How do you view this subject and topic?
I think it's like anything in this game. I really like Tom Brady's comment because we all miss things and officials are no different. As far as the performers on the field, but I think the biggest thing is we all understand the intent, and I think giving clarity to the officiating of what the intent is and the execution. Sometimes there's a gray area and a gap that needs to be filled in. I think we're just working through it. Obviously, the emphasis is the emphasis and trends of this league don't just stop with offense and defensive scheme. It definitely carries over into the area of officiating, and that's what you have to really pay attention to. But I get they want to protect them, but in the same breath, it's very, very difficult defense. I mean, I can't tell you how much instruction that goes into sacking the quarterback now. I mean, it's like none other in this league, and and we just got to keep coaching our guys. We're trying to do right. Look at Dante Fowler's flag in L.A. So I mean, he's doing what he's been taught to do, and that's the thing as a coach. When you see flags on your players and they're doing the things that you're teaching them to do, obviously we're not teaching our guys to do things against the rules. So we just got to keep working there, and I think hopefully that'll clean itself up over time.
Well, if you are anywhere near as sharp Sunday night as you were this morning with us, we're not too worried about the point spread. Thank you, Coach. Greatness as always. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
You
Go
too.
Tennessee.
That's right, baby. Go Vols.
I don't like this bromance here.
I love it.
I don't like this bromance between you two.
Drinking beers together.